so first, the page 763, page 771, you guys have already got taken care of. The other class is still working on. But textbooks, 4th hour is going to be handed in Thursday. 7th hour is going to hand it in the day after we go over the review for the quiz. Quiz for 4th hour will be on Friday because they still get a work day from whatever. And 7th hour, you guys are going to take yours Thursday. And Friday, I'll have something for us to do that's different. Okay? So, on the quiz, there's going to be 6 arithmetic sequence problems, 4 geometric, and then there's going to be 1 bonus. Now, the formulas are going to be left up here. Arithmetic, the way you tell you have an arithmetic is you add to get to the next term. The last term formula is a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times the difference. And you can find the difference by taking the second term minus the first term. And also the sum formula is the number of terms divided by 2 and the first term plus the last term. Okay, so that's arithmetic. Geometric, you multiply to get the next term. And the a sub n formula, and I'm going to show you 2 ways to do it. You can do it whichever way you want. A sub 1 is the first term, r is the ratio, which you can find the ratio by taking the second divided by the first or so on, and to the n minus 1 powers. And the sum formula is a sub 1 parentheses 1 minus the ratio to the nth power over 1 minus the ratio. Okay, means mean numbers that are in between. So if it says find 3 arithmetic means, you're going to have 3 numbers in the middle. Okay? Now, those formulas will be left up here. So while you're taking your quizzes, you won't need anything else, really. Okay, so first, arithmetic. Now, how do I know it's arithmetic?
Because you can add to get to the next.
I'm adding to get the next number. And what is the difference while we're talking about it?
It's the second one minus the first one.
So in this case would be 3.
11 minus 8, yeah.
Okay, now, what if I asked you something easy? What if I said find the next 3 terms?
Okay.
So what would be my next 3 terms?
7, 20, and 23.
Does everybody agree there? Which really, this quiz is a common sense quiz. You can do it without any knowledge of any formulas. It may take you longer, but common sense. If I asked you to find the 50th term, couldn't I just keep on going until I got to the 50th one? But it is a lot easier if I say now find the 50th term, if I use the formula, a sub n equals the first term plus the number of terms minus 1 times the difference. Okay, so what's my first term in this sequence?
8.
What's the number of terms in the sequence?
50 minus
50. So 50 minus 1. And what's the difference? We already established was 3. So I have 8 plus 49 times 3.
Which is 147.
And 147 plus 8.
155.
And so our 50th term is 155. Now what if I said from the same sequence, now I said find the sum. What do you have to know in order to be able to find the sum?
The amount of terms.
Number of terms, which we know, right?
Yeah.
You got to know the first one and the,
Last
and
one.
don't we know that for 50?
Yeah.
So we can go straight to the formula.
So 50 divided by 2 times 50 plus 8.
Not 50 plus 8.
Times 8.
8 plus 155.
Or 155.
The last one and the
Yeah.
first one. Okay, so 50 divided by 2 is 25. 8 plus 155 is 163. So somebody tell me what 25 times 163 is.
That is 4075.
4075. And that'd be our sum. Now, how many problems have we done so far?
Just one.
We've done more than one. We've
One,
added the next 3 terms. We found the last
You
term.
consider all
We
of
found
them.
the sum. You see what I'm saying? We've already done 3 examples of arithmetic right there.
Sure. Can we do one with,
That's what I'm doing next.
no, I was gonna say, binomial.
What now?
Like, a and then a plus 3. Like, so when we would find the difference, how would we?
Oh, okay, like with a variable?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. We'll do one of those. You aren't going to have any on your quiz, but we can do one. Okay, let's say that you have 8 blank 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 91. In other words, I've got an arithmetic sequence that has 4 arithmetic means. Okay? Now, what do you have to know in order to know what goes in the blank? You got to know the difference, right? So to find the difference, we're going to use this formula. So we know a sub n is 91. We know the first term is 8. I know how many terms there are because I can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what's the difference? We don't know. So if 91 equals 8 plus 5d, what would we do to solve it to find d?
Subtract 8 and then divide by 5.
What was that, 80?
3.
Then what's 83 divided by 5? 16.8? Somebody tell me?
16.6.
6.
That close. 12.
16.6 is d then?
Yes.
So now can I figure out what goes in the blanks? And there's really no reason to miss these because if you don't get 91 when you get to the end, you did something wrong. What's 8 plus 16.6? You guys with calculators can add faster.
24.6.
Keep adding.
41.2.
Keep adding.
57.8.
Yeah.
Keep adding.
74.4.
Keep adding. Why would I say keep adding?
Just to make sure.
That's to make sure your answer's right.
91.
And we are right. So you don't need me, you really got your check yourself. Okay, now what Mason was asking about, what if I have 8 plus a radical 2, 8 plus 2 square root of 2, dot, dot, dot. And I want you to name the next 3 terms.
Radical 2.
So you'd find the difference by taking the second one, subtract the first one, right? So that's just a square root of 2. So all I have to do is, did everybody see what I did?
Yeah.
Okay? Is I want the next 3.
Okay.
So add another radical 2, that'd be 8 plus 1 more, so it'd be 3 square roots of 2. Add another
8
one.
plus 4 square root of 2 and 8 plus 5 square root
And that would be our 3 answers. Is that what you're kind of talking about?
Yeah, I didn't know if you like.
You could go to decimals, but decimals wouldn't be as pleasant.
No, I
Or if I had,
understand.
what if I had x, and then I had 3x minus 1, and I had 5x minus 2. So you take the second term, subtract the first one, so that's the difference, so you add 2x minus 1. So the next one would be 7x minus 3, next would be 9x minus 4. Is that what you're kind of thinking
Yes.
about? So now does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, so have we done everything that you could possibly do with? Yeah, okay, let's do one more just to make sure we've got it taken care of under arithmetic, and then we're gonna go to geometry. This time, let's say I have, that one was one that was increasing, right? Let's go 12, 7, 2, and I want you to find the sum for 48 terms. So in order to find the sum, what do you gotta know?
The 48 term.
First.
You gotta know the last term, and you don't know it. So don't we have to find it first? Didn't ask you to, but there's no way to find the sum without you doing that. So we're gonna use this formula to find the last term. So our first term is 12. The number of terms is 48. And the difference, what's the difference? What am I doing to get to the next term?
Subtracting 5.
7 subtract 12 is negative 5.
Yeah.
So you got 12 plus, what's 47 times a negative 5?
Negative 235.
Negative 235?
Yeah, negative
And then-
223.
Negative 223. So there's our last term. Now can I find the sum? So sum is, what's the first term? Oh, not what's the first term. How many terms are there?
4.
48. First term was 12, and last one's a negative 223. So 24 times negative 211. You guys can tell me.
Negative 50, 64.
50, 64?
Yep.
You guys get there? Okay, okay on arithmetic. Now geometric is the one where
Multiply.
you multiply to get the next term, but it really can be done more by common sense than by the formulas, except for the ones that say find the means. Then you do need a formula. Okay, so let's say I have I'm going to kind of do it the same way I did the last one. I can make, out of one problem, I can make quite a few questions, right?
Yeah.
We know it's geometric because you're multiplying. What are we multiplying by? What's the ratio? You take the second term divided by the first.
So 1.
I get 1/4
4.
because you divide, you invert it.
Yeah.
So we got a ratio of 1/4. What if I want you to find the 8th term? There's two ways. You can either do the formula, which we're going to do first, and then we're going to do the common sense way. So to do the formula, it's a sub n equals a sub 1 ratio to the n minus 1. So the first term is 2. The ratio is 1/4, and it's raised to the 8 minus 1 power. And 8 minus 1, 7.
Hold on, I have a question.
Yes.
How did you get that for your R? What shouldn't it be?
You take the second term divided by the first.
Right.
So 1/2 divided by 2. When you divide by 2, don't you
Oh,
invert
yeah.
it?
Okay, yeah. I was.
Okay, now, remember I said it's easier to work with fractions than decimals? So I'd say 1 to the 7th is 1, and 4 to the 7th, you guys are going to have to help me out.
4 to the 7th is 16, 38, and 4.
384. Okay, now we're taking that times 2, so can I reduce by 2?
Yeah.
Cross cancel? So I'm going to get 8,
1,
192. So our answer ends up, the last term is 1/8192. Now that's by the formula. This one, geometric, works really well with doing common sense. If I have this sequence, all I need to do is go 8 more, or go what? I've got 3, so I need 5 more,
Yeah.
and my answer would be right here.
Yeah.
So if I multiply by 1/4, I'd get 1/32. All I gotta do is keep multiplying by 4, right? The number top's gonna be 1. What's 32 times 4? 128. Times 4 again.
512.
Times 4 again.
2048.
And then by 4 again.
8192.
And we got the same answer. So again, it's a way to check it too. Now, what if I want you to find the sum for 8 terms? Well, if you got a fractional calculator, you could just put those in there and add them, right? Or we could use the formula. If it has fractions, I'm more than likely to use the formula. That way I don't have to work with getting common denominators and adding. So the formula is the sum equals the first term, 1 minus ratio to the nth over 1 minus the ratio. So my first term is 2. 1 minus the ratio was 1/4, and it's going to be raised to the 8th power over 1 minus the ratio. So we've got 2, 1 minus, somebody tell me what 4 to the 8th is.
4 to the 8th is 65,530.
65, 53, 6.
536?
Yeah.
And 1 minus 1/4 is 3/4, right? So I've got 2 over 1. 1 is the same thing as 65,536, right?
Yeah, so
Over
just
6.
subtract 1.
So it's just going to be 65,535 over 65,536. Invert and multiply. And then I should be able to cross cancel. Like 4 goes into 65,536 to 16,384. Somebody check me, see if that's right.
16,3. Yep.
Now let's see, that's 8. There's 10, 8. 3 will go into that number. Remember the trick I said about the sum of the
Yeah,
digits?
they add all.
So what's 65535 divided by 3?
65535 divided by 3 is 11845.
And 2 can go into that. So 2 goes into that. 8192. Is that right?
Yeah.
So my answer is 21845 over 8192.
It's 11845. No, it's 2.
It's what?
We have a discrepancy.
That is.
Didn't you take 3 into 65535?
It's 21845.
Okay, and it was 21845?
That's what I got. You think it's 11 numbers?
Take 65535 divided by 3.
Got
Okay, so we're okay there? And that would be our sum? Now, what could you do if you want to do the common sense way? 2 plus a half is 2 1/2, right? Then you have 1/8, 1/32, 1/128, 1/512, 1/2048, and 1/8192. My common denominator would be 8192.
That looks too long.
Like I said, if it's fractions, now if it's whole numbers, sure, I'm gonna add them together.
Especially,
But if it's fractions, I'm probably gonna use the formula.
unless you have a button on your calculator where you can decimals, so.
Yeah,
fractions.
Now, how many times 2 go into 81492?
A lot.
4096.
Yep.
Okay,
That's right.
okay, and what about 8 into 8192? 1024. 32, you guys might have to help me out.
But
2, there's 64 was 256.
for what's
Yep,
the,
that's right.
okay,
8192 divided by 32. Now, what about 8192 divided by 128?
64.
64. 8192 divided by 512.
16.
And next would be 4, I think.
Yes.
Yep, and the next one is 1, right? So if I add, you guys got your calculators, what's 4096, 1024, 256, 64, 16, 4, and 1 add up to be?
64 what?
5,461.
5,461.
Times 2.
What, and 2 and that number. Now, is this the same thing? How would I find out? Take the top number divided by the bottom and see if you get 2
Same
with,
decimal.
what you get for a decimal? 2.6, roughly? Take this one, 5461 divided by 8192. Same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could double check your work, make sure it's right. Now, the only thing we haven't gone over is a mean, right?
Yeah.
So let's do a mean.
Thought we did.
We did arithmetic, we haven't done geometry.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go 5. So I better make sure it works. I think that works. Yeah. Okay, so we need to figure out what's in the blanks. So our last term is 405. Our first term is 5. The ratio we don't know, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'd be 4. So divide by 5. Take the 4th root. What's the 4th root of 81? But wouldn't it be a plus or minus 3?
Yeah.
So this would be one, and I did give you one on the test that had 2 answers. It's only going to have 1. It'd be an odd root, right? An odd root. So that means you could have.
Don't you have to test all the numbers?
Yeah, you'd have to do, first if the ratio is 3, this would be 15, 45, 135. But if the ratio is a negative 3, this would be a negative 15, positive 45, negative 135, right? It'd alternate, is the only difference. Okay, are you guys okay on geometric and arithmetic? Finding the nth, finding the sum, finding the means, or just finding what comes next? You guys okay on that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tara will find out because you have 2 assignments to do that are concerning that.
Mhm.
Okay, so flip off the camera, let's get our textbooks out and we'll check them in.
Someone wanna help me?
You work on them first while they have them do the books, because there's,
Mine are, okay.
you have to keep your book,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But we'll check to make sure you have the right number.
4.